Okay, so if you look at this, this student did the docstring documentation, okay? And this is the inline documentation. And if you look at it, it's all here. Very, very well formatted, the whole program, very good. Okay, so that documentation is there. If I commented that you don't have the docstring documentation, that's what I meant. You don't have this part. Okay, that's the docstring with the 3 quotation marks. And this is the inline documentation. And if I said you don't have documentation at all, that's what I meant. And this student used a while true loop. Okay, so the whole program, if you look at it, it is a while true loop. Okay, everything is within this while true loop. Okay, so while true, print hello message and get the number of people. Okay, if number of people is less than or equal to 0, negative number, that doesn't work. And 0, I set in my requirements, I said if it's 0, you need to get out, right? So if that's the case, you print out a thank you message and get out, break. So this break will break out of this while true loop. Some 1 or 2 students use the if something, then break. Break doesn't break out of an if statement. It only works with a while loop. So a loop, a while loop or a for loop. So while true, and if you have this condition, you get out. That's the break. Else, you do everything I ask you to do, right? This is what all the code here after the else. So that means number of people is not less than 0. And declare the total variable. And this is the variable the student is using. He, she, or he is using a range function, okay? And that's what you should do. And so 1 or 2, some of you did not do this, the number, right? That's the number. And this is, you have to concatenate it and convert it into a string because this is a number. So you convert it into a string and you start from 1. So that's 1, and then 2, then 3, right? Followed by this. Okay. And then you just add the age to the total age and you do the division to get the average. And then if average is greater than my guess, where is the guess? Oh, my guess is here, right? Okay. So you guessed, and this actually is not correct. It should be 1. I didn't look at this when I graded because I asked you to do 1 to 100. If you look at the my document, I cannot find it. I think it's here. Okay, I think I said 1 and 100. So it cannot be 0. It should be 1. Okay, 1 and 100. So, and then this is how you format to 3 decimal places, right? That's the, we learned this in chapter 2 or 3. So you format it to 3 decimal places for both the random, my guess, and the average and the difference. Okay, and then you begin to do the if else statement. Okay, right? Okay, so well, here is the thing, right? If it's a while true loop, so it will automatically at the end, it will automatically go back. So it comes here and it's true. So it continues to do this and it will get the number of people. If the number of people is less than or equal to 0, it will print out a thank you message and get out. Else, it will continue to do all this. Okay, this is one of the students. This is one way using the while true loop. This might be the easiest way because if it's less than or equal to 0, you just get out. Otherwise, else you do everything. Okay, that's one. Let's look at another one, another way, right? Okay, let's look at this one. And this is also very well formatted, documented, very good. Oh, by the way, in the previous one, you did the import random in the middle of the code. I strongly advise you to put it at the beginning. So all the import statement should be at the beginning. Okay, so once again, you did this and get the size. And this get the size is at the beginning of the program before the loop, because this student is testing while group size is not 0. Okay, so if this is 0, it will get out of, it will not enter the while loop. It will go to the end. This one is always, it will go to the end and print out thank you. Okay, so look at this code. So you get a group size here. If that group size is not 0, if it's not 0, you do all this, right? And if it is 0, this code will not execute because it's in the while loop, right? This code will not execute. And this is the next statement. It will print out a thank you message. So this is another way. This student did the while group size is not equal to 0. So you get the group size first, and if it's not 0, you do all this. And so how does the loop stop? Near the end, at the end, the program is getting a new user input, right? So here you do the group size is equal to input, how many people in your group again. And when the user enters a number, it goes back to the loop and tests if it is 0, right? If it's not 0, it will do all this. If it is 0, it will come to the next statement and get out. So this is another way of doing this. This is the update statement right here, okay? And this first one is to initialize the variable. And this is the comparison with the while keyword. Okay, so the other things are really the same, right? We don't have to look into that. It's mainly the while loop. That's the difference. Okay, this is another one. Any questions, everybody? Okay, let's look at another one, one more, and then we will be done. So this student did, and I just want to congratulate you on the good job you are doing, because look at your formatting. It's very well formatted. Most of you have the correct spacing and a white space, and the indentation, you must do it correctly. Otherwise it won't compile. But you all have the inline statement and this docstring. So very good, well done. Okay, and this is the same. The program get the user input first, and this is the loop condition. While number of people is not 0 and number of people is greater than 0. So this is you can see the student is thinking, okay, it cannot be a 0 and it cannot be less than 0, right? If it's less than 0, that doesn't work. So the condition for the loop to go in is that it's not 0 and it's greater than 0 also. So to shorten this condition, actually, you can do this, right? It's not 0, it's greater than 0. Then you can simply do while number of people is greater than 0, right? That one condition is enough, because if number of people is 0, this condition is not true. If number of people is -2, this condition would not be true. But you can see the student is thinking about this. That's good. That's good. Okay. So this is the original one, right? Okay. So that's another way, but the others are all the same. If you look at it, it's the same. This, you don't have to use a break statement, because this condition already makes sure that if the condition is not met, you don't enter the loop. Okay, So I know most of you did this correctly, but you can look at this and learn some other ways of doing it, right? And this is the update statement at the end, right? At the end of the loop, the update statement. And this is the initialization of the loop control variable. And this is the condition. Okay, very good. Any questions, everybody? So if this condition is not true, you come to these statements. This student is having a little bit fun there. Okay, that's it. That's this program. Any questions? And this is how you output that number followed by the number. And this student did the same thing for calculate in range 1 to number of people. Okay, so let's look at the output. I commented on your output. Oh, by the way, if you look at my specification, I told you these are user input. One student randomly generated these inputs. No, I said the user enters these numbers, right? So those are numbers entered by the user. If you didn't do the number 1, number 2, number 3, you are losing 2 points. So 3 decimal places for all of them. And you test all scenarios. So if you look at your if-else statement, those are the scenarios. You also need to test the 0 scenario. So let's look at some testing, some students. Look at this one. Okay, so test 0. And so immediately you come in, you enter a 0, it gets out. Thank you. And test a very young people, a group of very young people. And then, yeah, this is the very young people. And then, oh, so many. Yeah, okay. You are middle-aged. So this student did a lot of testing, young, elderly, and okay. So you can see, I really appreciate your work. You did so many testing, right? Okay, until the end. So this is, oh, this is the code. Okay, so that's the testing. If I say you did not test completely, that's what I meant. If I say you did not test all the scenarios, that's what I meant. There is another one I wanted to show you. Huh. I don't remember where it is. I thought it was here. Maybe I closed. Okay, let me pause. Okay, let's look at this one. So the welcome message, and this student immediately start testing young people, and then very young people, and then middle-aged people, and young elderly people, and elderly people, and long-lived people, and get out with a 0. So that's the thank you message. Very, very good. And look at the output. It's beautiful. I like some of your output. You spaced everything correctly, and it's clear, easier to read. And so this is great. And this student used different number of people, 5, and then 4, and then 3, and then 2. So it's a very, very good testing. And that's how you test it. When I say test all scenarios, and this student did test all scenarios, except a negative number. This is very good. Okay. Another thing I want to say is some of you, the screen is too small for me to read, for anyone to read, not just me. So make sure you don't have to squeeze all screens into one page. Make sure your screenshots are easy to read and I can immediately see it. Okay, that's it, everybody. I will stop recording.